political structure of a state.
But you see,
yes,
this is a collection of equals.
That's
the
right.
Governors Forum.
Yes.
Why do you think the position of the chairman is so potent when he's just equals? He doesn't tell them what to do, so to speak.
Well, you can't say that he doesn't tell them what it is.
I said so to speak.
Yeah, so to speak. You know, most times they arrive at what you call consensus on issues. Remember when the Constitution was amended under the last dispensation? I mean, it was under this present dispensation. It was the same National Assembly. State governors that talked to all their State House of Assembly speakers, and before you know it, the amendment didn't take the rigorous and strenuous pattern all of us envisage, going by the provision of the Constitution that makes it so very strenuous for you to amend the Constitution. So if you have these governors reaching a consensus on any matter, well, they control the State House of Assembly, they control the political structure in their state, so everything always works in tandem with their wish and desires. So whosoever controls the chairmanship of that group must be regarded as very powerful. From what is going on politically in Nigeria. So it's not a question of equal, it's a question of having first among equals. There is a chairman that controls that particular body, and whoever is there must be somebody that must be compliant to the government at the central power. And if it's not, then something is wrong with that particular central government in power that is not interested in what goes on in the forum.
So why do you think we have this split now?
Why we have the split is that we now have a candidate. Together we have a split because we have a candidate who ordinarily supposed to be a loyal political party member. Remember that all this time he has always been by consensus because PDP controls majority of the states. So starting from Nasarawa State Governor, from Lucky Gwinedo, all the other governors, even Saraki himself, even Rotimi Amechi himself, how he emerged was just 7 governors and 6 deputy governor that voted him in. And so that put him in by way of consensus. There has never been an election. Now, if you now have a chairman that wants to recontest that election, and there is no loyalty to the political party in power, that is why this particular problem is reality is ugly head. Ordinarily, it would have been by way of consensus, and that is what the PDP people are now contending. That he has always been by way of consensus. They never had any election all this while.
But they voted according to the statement of Dr. Fayembe.
Yeah, that is very strange. And I want to hear from Babal Aliyu. There are people we need to hear from. Niger State Governor, I want to hear from him. I also want to hear from Oduah. Oduah didn't say much here. Because what I gathered last night was that Oduah was, nominated himself to be the political agent, for, Governor Jang. And then
for Governor Jang or for both of them?
No, I'm coming now, for Jang. Then when Orotimi was given the chance to nominate his own agent, he now also chose Oduah. So Oduah now was now acting as a political agent for both parties.
Okay.
And so I want to hear from him. Was there any election? Because he didn't say much. He said there is a total confusion. He didn't say, was he actually the political agent, so to speak, for both governors? And if he was there any proper election? And if that election took place...
Are you in doubt as to whether there was any election on that day? Because for some, they argue that, the Jang faction only came out some couple of hours to denounce themselves from that particular election after some couple of hours. So it means that they all agreed that they had a winner in Rotimi Amechi until maybe it was a case of an afterthought.
Yeah, they are singing a different song.
They didn't sing it immediately. That's it.
That is what is going on now. They are singing a different song, saying that there was no election, there was no proper election, that what was taking place in that house, in that particular room, was the issue of argument as to Rotimi Amechi stepping down. That he should step down, being the man that that is contesting an election. He shouldn't preside over his own election.
So what do you think what do you think about that argument?
Well, the argument, the way I know associations, how it's being run. I am a member of an association. I belong to Nigerian Bar Association. Ordinarily, before any election, there must be an electoral committee or electoral body that must be in charge of conducting an election. In any association, there must be a body. That body can be nominated or elected, prior to the election date or during the election proper. There must be a body impartial to look at the issue, and then normally in association, the man that is in charge of that particular body usually step down for election proper to be conducted, I know. But this is different from what happens in our national election, where the governors never step down. The president does not in any way step down, even though people have even suggested an amendment to our electoral law and to our constitution that the president should not preside over his election. Governors should not. In Nigerian national life, that is what goes on. But in associations, I know, I have been a member of many associations, town unions. The man that is contesting an election does not in any way sit over his own election, usually step aside and allow an electoral body, an impartial body, to conduct an election. That is what they said. They were arguing in that house, asking him to step down, because what actually happened was that there was Northern Governors Forum that met and surprisingly adopted JANG, because JANG was not in contemplation. It was Issa Yuguda and Shema of Katsina State. In fact, it was Shema initially. Then later we start hearing about Yuguda. Now, all of a sudden, Northern Governors Forum, presided over by Mr. Ali Babangida, that's why I said that we need to hear from him, now came up with a consensus candidate, and now presented this consensus candidate from the Northern Governors Forum to the PDP Governors Forum, presided over by Mr. Chief Godswin Akpabio, saying this is our candidate. And then the arrangement was for them now to go to the Governors Forum, Nigerian Governors Forum, to present a consensus candidate, which has been the method of selecting chairman of Governors Forum. But when they got there, other people now overwhelm and say we must have an election, because the constitution itself, which they are also contesting, provides for an election.
Okay, so if they subjected themselves to an election,
yes,
just as he said,
yes,
and they didn't raise objections immediately after the
yes.
results came out,
yes,
and then they raised the objections later,
yes.
What does that tell you?
No, if there was a proper election, one must be very objective about this, and you participated. You cannot approve and reprove at the same time. If there was a proper election and you participated in that election, you never found anything that is irregular about that election, and you voted, it is very, very difficult, unless the election is rigged, for you now to complain about the procedure. That procedural irregularity must be complained before the election. If there is issue that the man did not step down, and you have it in your constitution that he has to step down, then you don't have to participate in that election. The complaint has to be prior. Now, if you now participated, it will be very difficult for any court of the land to hear you, because you have acquiesced your right. You should have complained about the procedural irregularity before participating, because if you had won, I don't think probably you would have you are singing this new song. So the point is that they would have complained about that irregularity and refused to participate in that election, and refused to take part in it, and then come out of it. But they are saying that there was no election. That is what we need to know. Was that particular election even filmed? Was there any video covering that election? Like my own election, it was filmed. We brought in a video cameraman to come and film the election, so that if there is any dispute, people will see what happened. Was it videoed? Was it not allowed to be videoed?
What if this one was recorded?
Which one is that?
This.
I would be interested in that. You know, I would be very much interested, because this is issue of 35 governors. For God's sake, why didn't they even allow video man to video the proceeding, so that we will not have any issue of whether we participated or not, even at this point in time. That would have been made it easier. But I'm looking forward to if any man videoed it.
But if they had 19 signatures,
yes, right,
and said that, well, this is our candidate,
yes, right,
does it then mean that 19,
yes,
when the elections came,
yes,
because from all indications here,
yes,
all the 19 that signed were not the 19 that supported Governor Jang.
That's right. It's surprising that, as I said earlier, there was a Northern Governors Forum. Then that proceeded, they proceeded to the Governors Forum, that PDP Governors Forum, and they agreed that this is their consensus candidate. But you know what? It is a secret ballot, and that is where you see that human beings, Bible says that the heart is very deceitful. Who can know it? The heart of man can do anything. Then immediately they got into that particular hall, they discovered that it's going to be a secret thing, and those who may have been cajoled or agreed and gave the president or whosoever that, look, we are for the Jang, may have taken a different. That I'm only speculating. I'm not saying that it's actually that what took place. It may be that those guys eventually have to change their mind. That is what this issue of secrecy, usually evolve, because it's not open. But I also understand that they even insisted that it should be by way of show of hands. Let us raise hand for Amechi or for Jan. which the opposition said no, they want it to be by word of secret. So it may be at that point in time that some people have to, took a different decision.
Governor Kwabi was saying something about ballot papers.
Yes.
That
came from nowhere.
That came from nowhere. Is it possible?
Yeah. The point is that was there electoral committee? As I said earlier.
Now,